is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Here we go, OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 5, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, and Frankie Corrado in here. How's everyone doing this afternoon?
What's up, boys? Jonas, it's great to see you.
Good to see you.
It's been a long time, man.
I know.
I don't know what your deal is, but every time I see you, you're like skinnier than the last time I've seen you. It's crazy.
Here's the truth. I have known Jonas longer than probably anyone in the industry, right?
Yep.
Like I would say, he and I have been friends for 17, 18 years I've known Jonas. Mm-hmm. I have never seen him eat anything unhealthy. Not one time. And I've never seen him drink anything but water, which is a remarkable stat. That's the truth. And that's a compliment. That's like, I wish I could do that. I have no self-power. Like last night, I was ready to shut the mill down. I was tired, and I was ready to go to sleep, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to head downstairs, and I'm going to throw on, this is the Golf Channel, Sports Center. I'm going to check in on some things, scroll my phone, and I'm going to order, fire up a bag of chips and a Diet Coke.
Dude, that's a whole event, by the way.
A total event. When you have a wife and kids, and you got nothing else going on in your life, that becomes something you're like, I'm doing it, man. I'm living tonight. I'm going downstairs, and I'm getting a little bit crazy.
That's literally something you could punch in on your phone calendar and set an alert for it and say, I got an hour of chips, Golf Channel, and a little bit of me time, and you carve it out.
Exactly what I did last night.
What kind of chips?
So I have a rotation. I am there's not a lot of segregation when it comes to me and chips. I am open to almost anything. Like I'm a chip guy. That may surprise you, Jonas. I don't know if you were profiling me as a chip guy, but I've got a lot of things.
I think like if you're talking about like if you could do one of those nights and it's the last one you're ever gonna do, you're pulling out a Miss Vicky salt and vinegar.
Yeah, that would be high on the list,
right?
Miss Vicky can't miss. Like a spicy dill pickle, Miss Vicky is off the charts.
What about a jalapeno?
Yeah, a little. I don't mind it.
It's like you mix it in.
It's a mix-in.
Yeah.
But
it's not your go-to.
I'm a Canadian, too. I like ketchup, chips,
How many
barbecue.
are in the rotation?
Oh, I got a lot. I got Doritos in there sometimes.
Go Doritos,
food.
eh?
Oh, I got everything.
Dude, Doritos is when you're like back in your teen years and you're gaming with the boys. You're on like
it is Xbox. So embarrassing when you look at your fingers and you're like, I'm a grown adult. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with myself? Now, I will admit I don't do that very often. What I'm saying is I don't segregate against it, Jonas. Like, it may not be a choice, but it's not something I'm going to turn down. And like you pointed out, you give me a scenario where like, dude, end of a long weekend, kids are asleep, you're just, you're watching Sports Center, you got the end of a CFL game on or something, you want to fire up a bag of chips, I'm in.
Dude,
and I did that last night. I'll bet you've never done that, Jonas. Have you ever done that before?
Maybe kale chips.
Be honest.
Done what?
Just
exactly.
Like launched into a chip routine where...
So this may surprise you. I eat healthy when I'm working.
Yeah.
But when it's off hours, anything goes.
You let loose. You're a wild guy. You're a wild guy.
You have like some apple slices with some peanut butter?
No. Like I have a soft spot for ice cream.
Okay. I like that. I like
chips.
that.
I had Miss Vicky's last night.
There
original.
You go. See, I love hearing that.
When I'm snacking, like it's kind of out of control.
I love hearing that, Jonas. Yeah. See, Jonas is just like
he's a man of the people.
He's a man
really
of the people, absolutely. Well, it's great to see both of you guys, and I noticed you both kind of. There's a little bro hug because we're kind of right in the middle of hockey season ending like 5 weeks ago, and hockey season starting in about 5 weeks, right? So you guys are kind of right in the middle of complete checkout. You don't have to worry about anything. Is that accurate? Is that kind of the way because you dive into the Leafs and you cover them as closely as anybody.
Yeah, it's like
every single day.
July 1, crazy. Week after July 1, a little bit crazy, preparing for something like could happen. And then it's like middle of July, it's like done.
So does the new strength and conditioning hire, does that get on your radar that Andy O'Brien has been hired? I love how everyone's got a take on this hire as if anyone has a clue what he's bringing to the table. And I'm not saying that negatively or positively. I don't know. It's awesome that he was, he used to train with Sid. That's great.
I think that's the headline. The fact that they added so many different people in that department, to me, is what stuck out, because obviously I wrote about that during the year, how spare that department suddenly seemed to me and who they hadn't brought, like the sports science department.
Yes.
So the fact that they hire him and hire all these other people, like I don't know the number of people they hired in that department alone, but to me it's like, okay, yeah, like that's good. Like that they should be beefing up that department, because it was like, why were they going lean in some of these places before? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting that, like, that's a big pull in the sports.
So you would know, you played in the league, you were in Pittsburgh.
I played for Pittsburgh when Andy was there, and I got to see him up close and personal. So dialed in, like at the top of his industry. And I think that's the thing that's really interesting is the Leafs got him. You know what I mean? Like, he could easily look at Toronto and say, I'm not interested in something like that. I can call my shot wherever I want. Can call a bunch of teams around the NHL and say, I want to go here. And chances are they'll find a way to make it work, whether I'm the head guy or the consultant. Meanwhile, Toronto pulls him in. So that's got to say something about the team and the market and the cachet and everything that comes
and the
with
money they're
being
willing to spend too, which is 100%.
Yeah, there you go. So
that gets to what you're talking about. That it seemed like, and again,
this seemed like we know.
You know for a fact. And again, to clarify, like I know Tree Living and company took a lot of heat. He doesn't set the budget for the team. Above him does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's Pelly and ownership that has to determine what they're willing to spend. This would indicate maybe they've opened up the checkbook.
Well, my point with that whole thing is, like, why is the most valuable team in the league kind of cutting corners with this stuff? And now with this, it's like they're not.
No, that's big, and it's bold. I'll tell you a little like Andy O'Brien thing just to show you how dialed in this guy is. When we would show up to the rink on practice days, before you even had your breakfast, you had to put these headphones on, and you would put this heart rate monitor around you, and you sat on a couch for 2 minutes, and they just ran this test. And basically what the test did would tell you, did you wake up with your sympathetic nervous system firing or your parasympathetic nervous system firing? And based on which one you got, he would direct you in what kind of breakfast to have before practice. So did you need a little more carbs to get you going? Did you need a little more protein? So I'm just kind of like, this is the level of detail that the Leafs are getting in this kind of guy. And this is the level of detail that Sidney Crosby obviously sees in this guy. It's a big pull.
That's great.
It's a big pull, man.
That's great.
And it's like this in every different aspect.
So
not
they're just going to make a bunch of John Tavares's now, because now he already does that,
right?
And now it's like the whole team is just going to be like that.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question, really. Like, and you guys can answer this. Frankie, you can answer this anyway. Like, the players have got to buy in. Like and I'm always curious about that. Like, how much of it is you don't have a choice, which I'm guessing, younger players. Andy says you got to do this, but if Austin goes, actually, I have a different way of operating,
he's going to do what he wants.
He's probably going to do what Austin does, and then that's on Andy O'Brien to work with him and make sure. And I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe he walks in and goes, "We're all together. You tell us how it's going to work." I'm not sure, but athletes we see it all the time with second opinions, getting surgeries from their own doctor instead of the team doctor. The same thing with strength and conditioning in the modern sports era is serious, serious business. And athletes are spending literally millions of dollars on their own bodies and operating the way they feel is in their best interest to pop. So it's a totally different world.
Yeah.
And yet that's an area where you should spend the most money.
Yes.
The Leafs have hired 1 million people over the years, and I'm convinced 50% of them do nothing.
That's not true.
I'm convinced of it.
That's not nice.
I'm convinced of it.
There was probably some redundancies.
GMs, but that's my point.
Okay.
9 assistant GMs, 45 cooks, 70, and I'm like, you're just trying to prove that you have you're just hiring people to say, see, we're working here because we have so much. It was like bureaucracy almost. You see it in government all the time. Like, streamline it and get it right.
But don't take it down to the
But don't take it. No, exactly. And if you see someone where you're like, that person makes us a better organization, we will pay whatever we have to pay to get that person.
And with this one,
that's more about streamlining and using your cash.
Okay, look at it this way. You can only have 23 players on a roster. You can only have a certain amount of, money allocated on a salary cap. And I get it. Like, there are teams like the Rangers and the Leafs and the Canadiens. They can spend as much as they possibly want. But to Brian's point, like, make it purposeful. So you're bringing in arguably the top, performance guy in the game, whether, Andy O'Brien, Gary Roberts, that's the level of, person we're talking about. Like, you can take that money, spend it like you're spending it on a player, and have him work and get his tentacles throughout your organization. That's money well spent. And it's something you can do that Vancouver can't do, that Columbus can't do, and there's your advantage around the salary cap.
Frankie, if it's like makes you 1% better, worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? Like, and that's the thing I could not understand last year. It's like, why is this happening here of all teams? I got to say, I love that we are leading the show with the Leafs higher.
August 4th, baby.
A sports performance department.
I love it.
Wow, they're making news, right? They're making news. And, I think you'd probably expect we'd get to the Jays, and we should point out Ross Atkins would join us at 5 o'clock, and we're looking forward to having Ross on. And they were kind of buyers and sellers, and the white flag had to go up. They had to move off guys, Gosman, Varsho, Hoffman. They didn't have to because they still had team control next year, but I think they decided, rightfully so, his value is actually very high right now because he's been pitching very, very well. And we just can't trust what he's going to be a week from now, let alone a year from now. And he brings more value because there is team control. So I think they feel like they got a decent return on Hoffman. Bit surprising Bieber and Springer are here. Springer's got 10 and 5 rights. Maybe we'll ask Ross, is that what applied here? Did George basically say, I'm not going anywhere? I don't know.
Well,
I mean, that could be the case.
He's at the point where doesn't he feel like if it doesn't make sense for me and I don't want to be there, I don't have to go there.
Definitely possible. And, you're talking about budgets and money, and maybe it was too much money and they didn't want to eat money, and maybe the same thing with Bieber. Who knows? So Ross coming up. But the white flag, interesting timing because they won again last night. They've won 3 of their last 4, and they had an opportunity to sweep the Cards. And they're 4 games out of this third wild card spot, and that third wild card is trending towards like 84, 85 wins, if that, on the season. But I think it's the appropriate move because you have so much sample size now. Like, they've just performed poorly all season long. This team did not deserve to have the chips moved in on their behalf. But I think, the deal that sticks out, which I think is important here, is the Soriano deal, where, yes, they traded a high-end prospect, but this is basically the Jose Barrios deal 2.0. It's effectively the same thing. They traded Austin Martin, another top 5 pick in that draft, who they liked, and they gave up that because they trusted that, in Barrios' case, he had an arm you could rely on. He had good stuff. He was in his prime, under control, and they could sign him. I would guess the same thing applies here with Soriano. And that's why they've done it.
Barrios is better, though, and was better and is better. Well, he's not better.
I mean, statistically, it's not far off, Jonas. Barrios had more track record. He had more track record. Soriano has really come on, this year and last year, but he hasn't missed a start in 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's my point. Like,
he's going to eat innings. Like, it'll...
And they place a ton of value on that. And generally speaking, they've got it right when they've made those decisions.
True.
Paying Gosman when they paid him, Bassett when they paid him, acquiring Barrios. I know what's happened the last year and a half. I think this front office deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, fair.
That they know what they're getting and they know that they're going to get value out of it. And yes, you paid a premium, but clearly they look at Namala and they don't see what they saw when they drafted him.
Or
that's very clear.
We have JoJo Parker, and
But I don't even know if that applies because they're both still so far down in the system. Like, I've seen that come up before. Like, well, you got Parker, and you can't guarantee where Parker's going to be. There's no guarantee they won't trade Parker.
Dude,
I don't know if they will, but they might.
So there's been a ton of prospects that we talked about in the same vein, and it's like those guys. They never really turned into anything, but we thought they were going to be something.
Happens
they were going to be a
time.
surefire guy. I think it was a very difficult balance for this front office, this trade deadline. You have to sell off, you have to acquire, you almost have to get started on your offseason now while selling off some pieces that can help some teams and bring stuff back. Thought they did a really good job of that. Like, that's not an easy thing to have to balance at this point in the season. And the reality is they're probably not as bad of a team as they have shown this year. They're going to win some games here. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it interesting down the stretch here with that wild card spot, just because like things are going to balance out for them. They're just a better team than what they've shown this year.
Well, and you look at who left. You know, Gosman, reliable arm, heartfelt goodbye. Tough to see him go. Hadn't been pitching great, though. Like, the replacement you're going to put in for him, well, it's going to be Soriano, is going to actually be an upgrade.
Right.
Right. So they're actually better in terms of the rotation. You know, Varsho cannot hit. You know, we saw it again last night. And you put Straw in there. It's not like that's Mickey Mantle or something like that. But defensively, he's better. Look at the play he made last night. Like, that was a phenomenal play and embarrassing because the guy ran the bases and thought he hit a home run.
Oh, my God, dude.
Tough
That was a tough
Trammell.
watch.
Yeah, like this. How did you think this was out? Like, it's not like he climbed the wall. It was blatantly in the park. Even if he misses it, it's a double at most. Maybe you leg out a triple, but
He's
Trammell
still running, dude.
Dude, no one told him anything. Like, that's on the third base coach, too.
What's
like,
he supposed to say? Like, hey, stop. Like,
yes.
you're out?
The second that guy's rounding second, he is in a home run trot. Like, that is immediate. Third base coach, come down the hallway. We're going to go have a man conversation. Like, if I'm Trammell, I'm like, me and you right now. How dare you let me run?
Do you got to give him like the point or the wave, or do you just like walk it off almost? You got to be like, I think this is how I would play it.
If you're the third base coach?
If I'm the third base coach, this is how I'm going to play it. I'm going to walk it off, and I hope he sees me and realizes that the inning is over, so I don't have to have a camera catch me doing something confrontational or semi-confrontational.
I think in a moment like that, the second the guy rounds second base, he is convinced he hit a home run, and you got to save that guy. Like, you got to step in and be like, hey, dude, or grab his arm and be like, what the hell are you doing? He caught it. You're out.
That's going to be on so many blooper reels for a long time.
He was full-blown, and even he was 2 or 3 steps past home plate and still had not understood that Straw caught that ball.
The only place where he's going to get a harder time for that than, national TV is in that clubhouse.
Oh, they'll be crushing.
He will be getting roasted for a long time about
They'll be
that.
at BP today, faking running the base.
100% guaranteed someone's doing that.
So got to lay down a bunt and do a trot and then just start goofing on him.
Hey, did you see it, boys?
Yeah, 100%. But so you got Straw in for Varsho. Hoffman, they're not going to be able to replace. And I know there's a lot of people that can't get over Rojas and I'm not going to either. I don't blame anybody.
How can you?
I totally understand that. The fact is that's his legacy here. He gave up the home run in the 9th of the World Series as a guy that was a closer that they paid a lot of money to literally close in that situation. But he had been pitching very well recently. They're not going to replace that in the bullpen.
Dude, he had 3 earned runs allowed.
He's been phenomenal.
In months
at this
point.
He's been phenomenal. But I guess the point I'm getting to is the rest of the way, they're not like a worse team today than they even were a week ago. So it's not going to affect wins and losses. If anything, maybe they get a boost because they're through it now. And it's not about making the playoffs right now. They're not going to make the playoffs. I think that's been conceded. But what I like is that they clearly have a mantra within the organization, and I hope the fan base embraces this because it's kind of unique to baseball, and it may only be unique until the next CBA is ratified because the whole thing could turn upside down, and I'll get to that momentarily. But the idea that the mantra is you got to win and you got to rectify this now is very refreshing because historically it was like, well, we spent all this money. It didn't work. Cut, payroll down, screw this. We're not paying for this if we're not getting results. And I don't get the impression that that is the messaging within the Rogers Center, which is, again, doesn't guarantee they're going to get it right and win next year, but is a very refreshing attitude and philosophy compared to past years and past ownerships with this team, including the current one, and other teams like the Leafs and the Raptors. Now, it's a little bit different when you have salary caps, and it just is more difficult to kind of rectify problems. But presuming baseball continues next year without a hard salary cap, I love the attitude of, hey, we screwed up this year. We're going to do everything we can to be a winner again next year. We're not going to take another step back and reset.
Dude, I don't even think I see
we have an attitude. We're going to try to win.
I don't even think I see it as a screw up because the guys that they brought in have done really well. Like Dylan Cease is a great example of that. It's almost like the hangover guys from last year that, contracts weren't expired yet, so they're obviously still on your team. They just didn't perform to the level that they could have or should have, and now you've parted ways with some of them. we'll know the results of this trade deadline next year, if and when they're playing. Like, I know there's a lot up in the air at this point.
Doesn't it kind of totally depend on Soriano? Because the other, like the prospects they got back for Gosman, like are probably just guys.
Who knows what they got
like,
for
it's just
Varsho,
lottery
for
tickets.
Hoffman. Yes, of course.
It's really just on Soriano, isn't it?
Yes.
Like they paid their best,
but they
prospect.
paid a premium to get him.
Yeah, and that's the only one. Like I like the idea of it. I'm not sure I like the player that they picked. Like if you're, I'm just thinking ahead to next year in the playoffs. Like you're starting the playoffs, you've made the playoffs. Do I want him as one of my 3 guys? And it's like,
I mean, his stuff this year has been
pencil.
electric.
He walks a lot of guys. Like he's like a 4.
So did Cease when he arrived.
Yeah, but he strikes out a million guys. This guy doesn't. And that's where like I'm a little like on the fence about it.
Yep.
What about Pete Walker factor? Does that weigh
Hayes, yeah, that point
That's
about
what
like
they're
them
hoping
elevating pitchers.
Yeah. That's what they're hoping for, and they've got a track record of doing that. Listen, I understand what you're saying, and I think ideally what you'd like is if you're trading the second-ranked prospect,
I want a guy
getting
in 10.
more. I agree with you.
He's he is in our playoff rotation, no question.
I think that is very reasonable, and I think it likely says more about their farm system, though. If you don't have premium, you don't have premium. Like, so
Right.
if Niemela is ranked number 2 here, he may be number 12 somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe number 7 or 8 somewhere else. And the other teams, they know what he is. Mm-hmm. They're not going to just say, oh, well, because he's your number 2, we're going to treat it the same as the Dodgers number 2, you know, or the White Sox number 2, or the Athletics number 2. He's your number 2.
Yeah.
But we have him ranked as the,
He's 43rd overall.
in Baseball America?
MLB.
MLB. So, again.
There you go. To your point.
But that's it. Like now, again, there's 30 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So
that's good. It's a good
reasonable,
prospect. Yeah,
reasonable
really
for sure.
good.
And I'm not saying this guy isn't good. It's a gamble. It's 100% a gamble. You gave up a really good prospect that you drafted in the first round and you have cultivated. They're banking on having the upfront knowledge that he's not going to pan out clearly.
And that happens all the time.
All the time.
Like
Because
the Red Sox just traded Marcelo Mayer.
Yeah.
Top prospect, shortstop, didn't work.
They clearly, like Austin Martin, again, as an example, they drafted him 4th or 5th overall. They traded him for Barrios. He's playing. He literally can't hit. Like I think he's got 2 home runs this year.
You're right.
He does not hit. And that's obviously the calculation here. It's always a gamble. But I think if this goes without saying, if they thought Niemela was going to be a star, they would not trade him for Jose Soriano.
Well, but also to your
they
point,
would not do that.
If they're trying to be competitive next year, and this guy is, I don't know, like 20, 28.
Yeah, he's probably at least a year and a half away.
If at all.
Yeah.
And now you can exchange him for a 3rd or 4th starter.
And they're jumping in front of other teams on the offseason. It's not a great free agent crop. Now, there is uncertainty. And this is the thing that does make you kind of quiver a little bit. Like, if there's a lockout, they were not. Like, everyone in the NHL knew in 03, 04, hey, this is coming. Gary's he's dying on this hill. Bettman is dying on the hill. It is going to be a salary cap. The players are going to lose. And this is coming. And the Leafs continue to say, trade this pick, trade that prospect. We don't care. Draft smash. And then they got 2 years post cap, and Sundin and all the, McCabe and all those guys were leaving. And they were literally in the worst position in the league.
Okay, so
had no plan for it. I don't know if the Jays have a plan for the future, if that is the future.
How do you read what the Dodgers did? Because the Dodgers bring in Skubal. They trade like 3 prospects to get him. And I wonder if they look at it and say, yeah, we'll go in all in right now because we're all in anyways.
Exactly.
And we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah.
And we're in a window to win right now, and we're going to try and make it 3 in a row. Who cares?
And that's what you should do if you're the Dodgers.
Yes.
Why would you care about next week if you're the Dodgers? You've won 2 in a row, and you're clearly the best team. And now you have Yamamoto, Skubal, game 1 and 2.
Yeah. And then you go to Snell. Is Snell available?
Yes, Snell.
Yeah.
Snell will be available. You got Glass now.
Pitch.
Yeah, Shohei if he's available, which he may not be, and who cares?
If you were in Major League Baseball, if you're in that front office and you're trying to sell to everyone that you need a competitive balance in the league, and you see the Skubal trade happen, you're doing jumping jacks.
But that's But they're going to do that. But that's such a bad argument.
Oh, it's a terrible argument. But they'll try and sell it. It's a
100%
horrible
they will.
argument.
Like teams that are the worst team in the league is going to be like, this is unfair. It's like, you stink. You weren't getting Skubal anyway. What does it matter to you?
Anyone could trade for him.
And that's what Skubal said. He's like, don't cry about the Dodgers. They went out and got me.
They got a great farm system. How do they have a great farm system? They're the best team in the league every year.
Yeah. But you're right, though. Well. The Tigers were not in the business of helping the Dodgers. They were in the business of getting the best package they could. The Dodgers offered it to them. If somebody else offered,
gave up on the season. The Tigers,
well,
essentially,
they've been awful this year. Like they're a lot like the Blue Jays.
They're like 2 games out of a wild card spot. It's crazy.
It's a bit deceptive, though.
Yeah.
They've been bad all year. They're the same team as it was just like last year. Now, last year they got on a heater 2 years ago. Remember, they got in post trade deadline after selling and all that. And I think a question that's not being asked is why didn't the Tigers just pay Skubal? Like if Skubal was
going to be like $500 million,
why can't you pay it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Like what? Only the Dodgers can pay that? You know, like they just went out and picked up Framber Valdez. You paid him a lot of money. Why'd you do that? Like just find a way to. Maybe Skubal wasn't going to stay, but why didn't you just pay him?
Wouldn't that be the argument for what Frankie's talking about with MLB and a cap?
This is what they're going to paint to you, and really all they want is
we can't afford that.
But this is where the players come back and say, yes, you can. Your team's worth $3.4 billion. You bought it for $100 million.
Of course they could. They want to make sure that they'll have cost certainty at the end of the day. This is not about competitive balance. This is about all the owners being able to say, this is what the range is going to be to operate. And we're going to be able to bring it down, and we're going to know.
Yes.
Because right now, if you're trying to keep up with the Mets and the Dodgers, like it's not easy for every team to do that. Although teams can do that, they just elect not to.
The Mets are terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible
which is
team.
an argument against that whole thing.
Well, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're incompetent, you're incompetent. Like money doesn't do anything if you make the wrong decision. If you splash money around at the wrong people, it's not going to work. And that's why the Dodgers, they're victims of their own success. And they don't care, nor should they. They're playing by the rules. There's no cap. Or if there's thresholds, they pay the luxury. They don't care. They go out there, they spend they acquire different guys, they sign different guys. And yes, is it overwhelming? 100%. Like they've gotten everybody recently.
But you know what I love about them? They're ruthless.
Yes.
They win the World Series last year, and they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get the best hitter available.
Kyle
you know what we're
Tucker
going to do?
and Skubal.
And we're also going to get the best reliever available.
Dude, and Kyle Tucker has not had a good season.
He's been terrible. He's batting like 7th for him.
You're right.
And you know what's crazy though? Like the Dodgers can make that kind of swing.
Yes.
And we can be like, yeah, it's
we're
the
in
Dodgers,
our window. We're all in.
Yeah, but then if someone else took that kind of swing, if it was the Brewers or the Rays or I don't know, even the Braves for that matter, it's like you can't take swings like that and miss. But the Dodgers can miss because they have so much room for error based on all the great players they've already accumulated.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, they've added the best bat, which has not materialized, but Tucker was.
In theory.
Best starting pitcher, arguably in the game, period, is Skubal. And
the best reliever.
And the best reliever, yeah.
It's amazing. And I just looked, they have the 4th best farm system still after the
trade.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
When was the last time the Dodgers were bad? Like, when would they have been bad?
It's been a long
It's
time.
a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah. Like they've been competitive for a long time.
Why I like it is we see it in hockey all the time. GMs are just generally risk averse. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, we're not like the Brewers could have traded for Skubal and they didn't. You know what I mean? And like Tampa could have traded for Skubal and they didn't. It's like the Dodgers just like, we're all in for this. We're trying to win.
And they likely will. And that again, you can argue whether or not it's good or not, but you're going to be watching to see if they do it. Like it will be I'm looking forward to seeing the Dodgers play in the playoffs. Like, can anyone beat them?
Of course.
I hope they can.
Of course, it'd
be great.
Almost should have beaten them.
The Jays should have beat them last year. Like they are gettable. They are beatable. But when you have that many elite players around, it's like there's like a swagger you have where you're going to find a way to win.
Well, and that's what makes like Miguel Rojas being the hero so painful. It's
the
Miguel
worst
Rojas
player on their team.
Yeah. And like Paez making big plays, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
And now this year he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's good.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? All right, Confirm the Night coming up. Ross Atkins just after 5 o'clock. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Boston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm and Deny brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza, starting with a question that seems to come up weekly. So we will get to it now, and that'll be it. We'll tuck it away for the rest of the week. Confirm or deny? Morgan Riley will start the season with the Maple Leafs. Jonas?
Of course you start there, eh?
Yeah. What do you got for me?
Confirm or deny?
Confirm or deny Morgan Riley's a Maple Leaf opening night?
Look into that crystal ball.
Confirm. And I just always thought with this, it was complicated for so many different reasons. His control over the process with the no movement clause, which means he can decide where he does or doesn't want to go. His contract, which still has 4 more years, $7.5 million cap hit, which is like, it's become less whatever as the cap has gone up. But it's 4 more years. He's 32. And his play just has declined the last couple of years. And like, I wonder how much of that was the coach and his fit with the coach and like all these different factors. Like, I'm kind of intrigued to see what he looks like under a different coach. But the fact that we're at August 4 and he hasn't been traded, I'm leaning he's on the team.
That's the thing that, like, I had this question on Jay's show a few weeks ago, and at the time I was like, well, he's going to be getting traded. He has to be. Like, he submitted a list of 4 teams to the Leafs, and they were going to work together to find a new home. And then you start thinking, well, maybe one of those teams was San Jose, and they got Darnell Nurse. Okay, so that becomes a team where he can't go to.
And those are just the teams that he will accept a trade to,
Right.
right? Like, it's not the other side.
And maybe they're reasonable teams. Maybe it's teams that, like, you have a feeling they need a defenseman similar to him. But the fact that, like, we're almost running out of time, you don't want to jam him up in a situation and make him, move halfway across the continent on September 4th or something like that. I don't know. I guess I'm going to confirm it. I'll confirm it as well, that he starts the season as a member of the Leafs.
Well,
and
why would it change, though, during the year?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like if he's back, is he just a Leaf now for 4 years?
Well, no, until next summer.
Why would something change?
Or
maybe he plays better.
But if he plays so well, why wouldn't you keep him?
Good question. I mean, who knows, right? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
If you are the Leafs, let's say another team says we're interested, and let's say it's one of the teams on his list, but we want you to either pay a sweetener and or we want you to take back money in the deal. Would you do it? Let's say we want a second round pick or something. Or I don't know.
Like the Leafs, like Riley in a second.
You have to give us something to take the contract.
Yeah. Here's it would depend on my scouting report. What I mean by that is right now you can sell, fell off with Berube. Just was a weird year for everyone. The whole team was bad. I'm telling you, he's got game left. If you bring him back and he keeps going south, you can't sell that anymore. Like then you're really toast.
Dead end road.
Because if the league right now is saying, hey, I don't know about Morgan Riley, and you can't sell, I'm telling you, there's game there. He's just got to get out of here. He's just looking for a new scene. If he has new coach, new lease on life, and he's just as bad or worse next year, then he becomes an untradeable asset. So if your belief is he is going south, then I think you do it. Then you might have to sweetener because you realize it's just going to get worse. Mm-hmm. If you believe he's still got game and it was just not the right atmosphere for him, then I'm not doing any sweetener. I'm bringing him back because he's a great guy. He's a great guy in the room. They all love, like there's no poison around Morgan Riley.
God, no.
That's not the issue. The issue is been here a long time. Didn't play that well. I mean, that's kind of what it. And the fans people are starting to get a little bit loud. It's kind of getting uncomfortable for him. So
he's also not the number one guy anymore. Right, he doesn't have to carry around number one defenseman baggage anymore because realistically, like Darren Radish is going to be running that power play now. He was brought in for that.
Is Radish
reason.
the number one in your opinion?
I don't think he's the number one. I think they do it. They have to do it by committee. They have no choice. They don't. I don't see Darren Radish as whoever you view a number one D-man around the league. You know, we know who the superstars are. I don't have to list them off, but it's not more like he doesn't have to try and fulfill that anymore.
Which means maybe less minutes.
And then I wonder about Chris Tanev. Like if Chris Tanev is playing and he's healthy, does that stabilize things? So Radish running the first power play, less minutes, playing with Chris Tanev or having Chris Tanev around, and new coach. 4 different elements. How does that help him? But to your point, if it doesn't,
then then
those are 4 bullet points that are like
going against him in his trade value.
Exactly.
And once you get into the season, it's difficult to make a deal on a guy who's got 3.5 years left.
Well, and if you trade him, like one of the other questions is like, who's replacing him? Because like it's not like they're so deep that they can just trade him and not get anyone back.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I don't know who's still out there looking for PTOs or still available and thinking they can make some money. I don't know. I don't know if there's another trade waiting that they have to unload the money first before they can make that happen. I mean, that's possible.
There's some interesting names out there for D-men that haven't signed. Like, who would you think is the best defenseman that hasn't signed right now?
I have no clue.
I couldn't name one.
Okay, I'll give you a 5.
Oh, you know who I like who's unsigned, I think still, but Nick Blankenberg, is he out there still?
Nick, you would say Nick Blankenberg.
Like
That's such a Jonas name to throw out there.
He's not a replacement.
Have you heard of Nick Blankenberg before?
I've heard of Nick Blankenberg. He's not high on my list of priorities in August, but I'm familiar with his game.
Yeah.
Anyone else of substance beyond Nick Blankenberg?
Carson Soucy, John Klingberg, Nick Leddy, Jake Bean, Colin Miller, Logan Stanley, Mike Riley, Matt Grzelcyk.
Grzelcyk's a guy
Nick
that
Blankenberg, Ben Hutton, Adam Boqvist.
Ben Hutton,
okay.
Yeah, there's
guys out there. Again, it's not ideal. It's not an upgrade.
There's NHL defensemen out there.
There's fillers available for your lineup if you're looking for that.
Yes.
But
I think we could do a whole hour on this.
Yeah. I think you mentioned Tanev. For me, there's 2 guys on this team that will determine whether or not they make the playoffs this year. You want to guess who they are?
Just 2?
Yeah.
The top 2 for me.
It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's
Bobrovsky
34 and 8. Oh,
Bobrovsky
maybe Bobrovsky.
and Matthews?
Sergei Bobrovsky and Chris Tanev.
Not Matthews?
Not Matthews, eh?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming I know what I'm kind of getting at Austin. It would be great if I got 69 goal Austin Matthews, clearly.
Yeah.
But I think I know kind of what I'm getting. I have no idea what I'm getting out of Tanev. Yeah. But if I get the guy from 2 years ago, it's a massive, massive upgrade. Like it's 22 minutes of the most consistent, reliable defensive hockey you can basically get. I think that's asking a lot, considering what he just went through. But it's huge if you bring Chris Tanev back at 100%. And Bob's got to play 50 games and be very good for them to make the playoffs. Like he has to be.
Yeah, but what if
he has to be?
What if okay, let's say Bob got hurt, right? We don't want Bob to get hurt, but let's say he gets hurt.
Make the playoffs.
What if Stolarz puts together and he's never done it
before?
What
would make you believe that before you finish that sentence?
40 games and Aksiyamov plays a bunch of games and plays well.
I don't think they make the playoffs in that scenario.
That's pie in the
I think Bob's got to start 50 games and be very good, and they can make the playoffs.
So you say very good. So is that better than average, you're saying? Because
I think
above
average.
I think if he's just average, I think that's
I would accept
not
average.
great.
I think average
like,
you're in the running. You could make the above average. I'm saying they make the playoffs.
I think they could make the playoffs.
They make the playoffs.
If Bob got hurt, they could make the playoffs with Stolarz, Aksiyamov.
Wow.
But
that's a
okay, confirm or deny. The Leafs can make the playoffs with Austin Matthews scoring 34 goals this year.
Confirm.
I would confirm that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're
I can see a world
defensively, the goaltending's better. For sure.
Yeah. Other guys pop and play well.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's not ideal. It's asking a lot, and I'm not saying they'd win the division or have 105 points. Could they get to 99 points and get in?
Remember who's in that division. Remember who's in the Atlantic Division.
I know. But there's every year it's like, what's Ottawa without Brady Tkachuk? Is Buffalo was that a 4-month heater, or is Buffalo like legit?
I'm happy you brought up the Brady Tkachuk thing because like he's a very good player, dude. It's not like this is a 90-point guy.
No, I know that. But
right? Like he's a good player. He's a unicorn kind of guy. He had a point per game last year. The year before, he was 55 points in 72 games. I know there's injuries and stuff, but like they can find a way to get that production somehow.
He's just he's a big personality on that team
for sure.
He's a big representative of the last 2 years who made the playoffs. Hey, Brady, kind of leading the charge. And that's what I'm saying. It's, we talked a lot about, hey, Marner left the room, and the room wasn't, like, that room's going to be different without Brady Tkachuk.
It is.
Like, that's a very different room.
Yeah.
An atmosphere around the team. Maybe it's a positive in the end. If at the end it got a little bit toxic, then possible.
Never know.
But that's a good list idea. I got to come up with a list. The 5 players that will determine the Leafs making the playoffs. Like, I guarantee you they make the playoffs if these guys pop.
Why don't you save it? We have a show together?
Yeah.
Well, we'll do it.
Okay, I'll get to that. All right, moving on here. I guess we got like a little bit more time. Confirm and deny the Blue Jays should try and sign Kevin Gausman back next season.
Deny. I think it was a good run. I think you squeezed it for all the juice it had in it, and it's time to move on. Who was the pitcher they had before him? And they didn't re-sign him.
Well, Chris Bassett last year, they did that with.
Before Gausman. When they initially brought in, he was nominated for the Cy Young.
Hyunjin Ryu?
No, he means Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray, thank you.
Robbie Ray was a one-year wonder. Yeah.
It was going to be too expensive to bring back Robbie Ray. They went out and they got Kevin Gausman, and Gausman was unbelievable. I see this as the very, very same situation, actually. You got what you got out of Gausman. You got to find the next thing.
I think
it's out there for you.
The difference is Robbie Ray got paid.
He got paid
He did.
He got paid a lot. Gausman's not getting a huge paycheck.
He comes back and he's your 5th starter, your 4th starter. Like, I'm kind of okay with that.
That's weird seeing him in a Cubs hat. Like, I know he's only been here for 5 years. It's not like he's a lifer, but he was a great Blue Jay. He was a great arm. I would deny it too, though. I think once you cut bait, that's it. You're like, because look what they just went through with sentimental value on bringing Scherzer back.
Right.
Like, got to bring him back. Like.
Yeah.
And Gausman kind of just spoke his piece. Clubhouse felt different this year. I'm not sure. I think that it may have ruffled some feathers a little bit. And you're just kind of, it's unfortunate how quickly it changes. But that World Series team, there is so much turnover.
Yeah.
Like now the face of the rotation is Dylan Cease with Savage, who was there, but it's Cease. Vladdy's still here clearly, but it's Okamoto. Like Springer's going to be gone. Varsho's gone.
Yeah.
Bichette is obviously gone.
A lot of turnover now in 2 years, basically.
Like a lot of turnover and just not a lot of sentimental value. Right?
Are you in the business of winning or sentimental value?
Exactly.
That's what you have to ask yourself.
Exactly. And his arm is not what it was. He's got a lot of innings pitched. I would just say we made the deal. We moved on. Come back whenever
I'm
you
more
want.
sentimental than you guys.
Yeah, you're a sentimental guy.
I never really took you for a sentimental guy.
There you go. Confirm or deny. We got more. We'll scatter in as well. Frankie, I think you got a list coming up, too. You've been working on some stuff.
I was tasked with a list today by Doogie. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest
press
with
from
you.
Doogie. Just making sure everyone's putting in work. I like that.
5 things I want to see or I'm looking forward to seeing this NHL offseason at this point.
Good. We got something to chew on coming up as well. Ross Atkins in 20 minutes. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 5.
OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Ross Atkins in about 15 minutes. Jays down in Houston. It's going to be strange later in the weekend. They've got that makeup game against the Cubs, and Kevin Gausman's going to pitch, or he's slated to pitch in that game.
Look at that.
Gausman against the Jays at Wrigley later in the week.
That's cool.
Little makeup game.
Yeah.
So I like that. And again, we don't know exactly when Jose Soriano is going to make his first start, or haven't seen that information yet, but at some point he will join the rotation himself and get into a number of things with Ross about the trade deadline, but also about the season in general. You know, what's going on with this team? How did it go from Game 7 of the World Series to a point where, you know, you've been out of the playoff race basically all year? Very frustrating season.
It has been. You know what's a crazy turnaround as well? It wasn't that long ago that this front office basically went out there and said we were banking on internal improvements to help our team, and it didn't help them clearly. Since then, they've been one of the busiest front offices in Major League Baseball. And then you add in what the Leafs are doing now, being one of the busiest front offices in the National Hockey League, and you're like, there's some messaging coming from up above that, like, if you are status quo and if you are standing pat, that is not going to fly here. Like, we are making moves. And the Raptors, too.
Throw in Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Kawhi kind of like in 19 fell in their lap, you know, like.
Yeah. There's
had
baggage.
to get out of L.A. for a reason, allegedly.
Yeah.
But still, he was on the trade market, and the Raptors went out there and paid a premium to get him. Like, they paid a fair amount to get him. He's still not officially a Raptor yet. That's going to be weird, man. Like, because we always talk about players like the Morgan Riley situation. It's going to be awkward for him if he shows up and, you know, we thought he was leaving, but he's still here. Like, Kawhi might be here, and the trade hasn't even officially gone through.
The weird thing is, like, he's been in the city.
Yeah, he
was
like
at Kyle Lowry's press conference.
I know.
He's hanging out in Vegas with the team.
Kawhi, you're still a Clipper, man. Like, it's a little bit strange. He's kind of in this matrix in between the two teams right now.
Well, and imagine the other guys like Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram. Like, like, do I move? Like,
right?
Do I go?
That's That's even weirder.
Yeah, that is.
You're getting traded the other way.
Yeah, like, where am I going? And if I'm here or if I'm in LA, what am I to that team? You know, like what am I to the Clippers? Like, Ingram is obviously a good player who will play for them. Grady Dick, though, is barely in the league. Like, honestly, he didn't play a lot last year. So if you're him, you're like, I kind of want to get out of Toronto, fresh lease on life.
Yeah.
But I got to get to LA. Like, I wouldn't mind getting in the facilities right now.
Dude, there's like
people.
that if it doesn't happen, there's that conversation that it's like, listen, we value you. Like, we really want you here. And like, no, you don't.
I know.
You guys just wanted to get rid of me.
Well, Hard Knocks is back, right? And it's debuting on Crave tonight. So Hard Knocks is the Seattle Seahawks, which is going to be great. I mean, we're talking the reigning Super Bowl champs are the host team for Hard Knocks. And again, it's on Crave tonight, and then every week it's on Tuesday on Crave, and then Wednesday, the next day, it's going to be played on TSN. That's an interesting conversation we'll get into in the next hour. Like, which local team would you like a Hard Knocks on for, you know, the rest of the season or into the next training camp? Because, like, if the Kawhi deal doesn't happen, a Hard Knocks scenario, Bobby Webster talking to Brandon Ingram would be hilarious. Hey, Brandon, sit down, man. Hope you had a great summer. We love you.
Yeah.
Always have.
Throw Darko in there, too.
Yeah. Always been a fan.
Yeah.
And then it just gets progressively more awkward with, like, hey, Grady Dick, come on in, man. Like, you're in next. Like, the whole conversation would be wild. All right, hour 2 coming up. Ross Atkins on the trade deadline and the rest of the season for the Jays and how they're set up for 27 and beyond. We'll get to that and more coming up. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Brian Hayes, Jonas Siegel, Frankie Corrado. Frankie, got a list for us a little bit later in the hour.
Got a list for you whenever you want it. No problem.
That.
We also should acknowledge something. Rest in peace, Vincent Pastore. You know who that is, of course?
Absolutely. From The Sopranos.
Can't say his name on the show.
We should be able to say his name. It's a great nickname.
For obvious reasons, we can't say it.
Absolutely.
But rest in peace to him.
And unfortunately, he died out in The Sopranos before it really blew up. And, like, they were making big money. I've read some stuff from him where there was some bitterness.
Season 2, maybe, right?
Yeah, the first couple of years, he was a big player, and obviously he was a rat in the end, and Tony found out.
Hey, spoiler alert. I've seen it, but come on.
You think a spoiler alert applies to The Sopranos 20 years later? 25 years later.
Some people might just be getting around to it.
Well, I hate to break it to you. When you figure out what we're figuring out here.
Yeah.
Didn't they drive him somewhere?
Yeah, it was on a boat. It was on Tony's new boat.
And he goes to
the Stugatz.
Hey, Tony, just not in the face.
Yeah, which I think they respected that request.
They did,
which I think is important. Tony was always a really good guy when it came to requests on how he was going to kill somebody.
Tony and Paulie, they were men of honor.
Always
those guys.
Always men of honor.
Salvatore Bumpanciero.
There you go.
That's how we'll say it.
Perfect.
Yeah. You think Ross Atkins watched The Sopranos?
I guarantee you he did. I'd be shocked if he didn't. I'm shocked when anyone says that they haven't. Let's cut to the chase and get
Let's
to it
ask
right
him.
now. Here's the GM of the Blue Jays, Ross Atkins. Go ahead, Ross. Have you seen The Sopranos?
I was actually busy watching curling mostly. Yeah.
That's reasonable too.
I got bored of The Sopranos. It's all sports all day.
Okay. Well, we don't want to spoil anything for you then.
I love The Sopranos, but I couldn't keep up with that recall. That was impressive.
I know. That was pretty good. I don't know if we're wasting
good
people's time or not.
Too, Frank.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Frankie's an Italian. He's a thoroughbred. He knows what he's doing over there.
Me.
Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Obviously, you've been busy, and we have been kind of debating ourselves. Did you buy? Did you sell? Like, how would you define your trade deadline?
Yeah, I mean, any time that you're taking away from a team that we were all in, I would put us in the sell category. We were just fortunate to be able to acquire players that impact us now and beyond. So adding Arrighetti and Soriano and others that are near Bateman and Klein that could impact us this year. We were fortunate. That was certainly our goal, and not always able to do that, but feel good about that return, given the circumstance.
So you say you're all in. You're in Game 7 of the World Series last year. How difficult was it for you to come to that conclusion that that's the right play, that you've got to sell?
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. It's been very, very difficult. It's been as challenging of a year as I've had. Just the emotional swing of that is so far from our expectations, and I'm very disappointed in myself and where we are. So it's hard. No matter I'm sure all of you are obviously you have been very competitive throughout your careers, and no matter where you are in your career, no matter what you just accomplished, not meeting expectations, and especially when they're as high as they were for us, is about as gut-wrenching as it gets.
How hard was it to come to the conclusion on Kevin Gausman, a guy who's been a really good soldier for you guys, beloved in the market?
Yeah.
Like, how tough is that one specifically?
Yeah, I mean, they're always difficult. That one especially, it is all the things I just said. We waited as long as we could possibly wait, and would like to have. I think there were scenarios where we were just adding. Then there were scenarios that were looking more like a hold, and not parting ways with Kevin Gausman, even if you are acquiring someone like Jose Soriano. But in the end, with where we were, we felt like it was the best thing, as painful and as difficult it was is the most responsible thing to do. And worked through that with Kevin. I talked to him before the fact and tried to explain. Well, I did explain, and hopefully I feel he did walk away completely understanding the position. And the interesting or great thing about our clubhouse is that it's been accountability throughout. And many players saying that one of the reasons that we are in this tough spot is because of all of us, not just one person's decisions, not just one person's performance, but the group.
Well, Gausman, prior to leaving town, was, I guess, vocal on the clubhouse dynamics or the kind of camaraderie within the clubhouse. And he said it just is not as close-knit of a team this year as it was last year. And he referenced some players who aren't here anymore. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, we've talked to Kevin about that, and he spoke to the staff about it. I think it was just, obviously it's not something he didn't feel. I'm not taking anything away from that. Losing is not fun, and it is really hard to enjoy losing. So yeah, I think that's really what my takeaway was, and I agree with it.
Whenever we get through a trade deadline and, you guys are active and you got a number of players who have contracts expiring, you discuss which guys are possibly going to go, and you decided to trade Gausman, Varsho, Hoffman in particular, who have been, mainstays on your roster. But you look at a guy like Shane Bieber, George Springer, two guys who also will expire after this season. They're still on the team. Can you take us through the mentality or the decision to keep a couple of guys who do have expiring contracts?
Yeah, I'm a few things. One is the support we've had from our fans that puts us in the position to not have to, push contracts or money out the door. And obviously the incredible support we've had from Rodgers. It's been absolutely unbelievable. So that's one. Two is the players feeling good about the environment and being comfortable staying in it and being motivated to stay in it. So those two things allowed us to not have to move players, which is not always the case and quite frankly rarely the case where you have both of those things occurring.
So to follow on that, though, what is the benefit of keeping them? Like you just said, you sold. You've concluded that the season isn't going the way you want it to. Why? Like, what benefit do George and Shane bring you the rest of the year if they're not going to be here in the future?
We have a couple. There's a couple of benefits, and I could go on for a while on those benefits, but the main benefits are that we do have a chance to compete. And we believe there is a chance that we are going to compete. We are going to be a competitive team, and there is still a chance that we could get hot. So that is one reason, and we can afford that. The second reason I mentioned about their desire, that impacts our environment and other players around them. So that elevates that level of competition, that spirit in the clubhouse. And yes, is there a potential return that we could have gotten for them that would have also had value? We felt like those two things were more important to us than that potential return.
Well, Ross, speaking of
the other thing is small. Sorry, Frank, and just one more thing to add to that. It's smaller and could have been offset. Is just keeping guys in healthy and the right positions as well around them, especially as it relates to pitching.
Well, Ross, speaking of the ability to continue to compete this year, what did you like about the opportunity with Jose Soriano beyond this year, but obviously this year as well?
Yeah, I think there's not a team in baseball that wouldn't like to have Jose Soriano. Even if you have good starting pitching, he's a very good one that, I think all teams in baseball would like to acquire. We were in a position to do it, and fortunately, our return was enough for the Anaheim Angels, and we're very glad to be in that position to have the control behind this year of 2 more years. And that ability, that performance we feel still some upside in him because of the reliever transition and still growing. We're excited about him playing with our defense and our ballpark and excited about the dynamic with our catchers and Kirk and Valenzuela and the impact our pitching staff has had on other pitchers. So all of those things made that acquisition, pretty compelling for us.
I use the Barrios acquisition as an analogy on this in terms of, trading a high-end former first-round pick prospect to get him, where he is in terms of his age, how reliable his arm seems to be. Is there a comparison there? And if so, is this a scenario where Soriano, you've got him under control for the next couple of years, but could you see this being more of a long-standing relationship?
We would love for that to be the case. We're always talking to players' representatives and the players about this being more than just what it states in their current contract right now. So certainly open to that. With
Ross Atkins. So you trade, though, Arjun Nimala, your second-rated prospect according to, Baseball America, MLB.com, again, former first-round pick. Why were you comfortable in paying that price and giving him up in particular?
Just all the things I said about Jose. It's much more about the acquisition. Arjun's a great player. He's a really exciting young prospect that in the middle of the diamond with elite bat speed, elite power, that he's got work to do like any young player that's only in AA, but it was really more about the return for us.
Ross, it's no secret that it hasn't exactly been a banner year for Vladdy, only 6 home runs on the season. Do you talk to Vladdy? Do you have meetings with him? Do you have any kind of communication on where maybe things have gone wrong or where they need to go this season? What's the communication like?
Yeah, I mean, we try to narrow those communication lines for him to make sure that helps with the consistency. We don't want 8 Blue Jays voices. We'd like that to be about 3, and that would be, maybe it's 4 if we're including base running. So it's the manager, offense, defense, and base running, and those being the key voices. And then there's the pregame and your medical staff and strength coaches, and the post-game recovery that's led by our performance staff. But we're trying to narrow those communication lines, and my interactions with Vladdy are about his family and, about the human being and what he needs from us and what questions he has with the team. And, I've talked about this a little bit. I'm really encouraged by his toughness and his perseverance. It is, that is the most important attribute after loving the game. And you know that well from your hockey experience, that if you don't love it, you better be the most talented guy in the world. And if you're not tough, you're probably not going to have a long career. And he's got those 2 boxes checked very well.
So, putting communication aside, in terms of pure analysis, it is staggering. The performance is staggering. There's no other way to describe it. Like, what has gone wrong, in your opinion? When you watch Vladdy, specifically at the plate, what is it that is not happening that needs to happen in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think timing has then impacted rhythm, which impacts confidence. So it is such a fine motor skill to be able to have that synced up, and your timing starts to change just a hair, then finding that rhythm to be synced up, to be in powerful positions and have enough room to still cover a breaking ball when you're on time for a fastball is one of the hardest things to do in sport. And if that starts to get a little bit out of sync, that can start to impact things that are going on in your brain. And so stopping or recreating that or getting back to the pattern that is appropriate isn't just the click of a button, isn't us just showing him that pattern. It's a feeling. And he's working towards it. I know he's going to find it. And, that could be – I don't believe it, although I shouldn't say I don't believe. Hitters say it just takes one swing. So I should believe that. Mm-hmm. I'm not expecting it to be a light switch turnaround for any offensive player. But I do believe things can happen quickly.
With Ross Atkins, and it's interesting. You look at the offseason moves you guys made; they've pretty much all been great. Like Dylan Cease is likely going to win a Cy Young. Okamoto's been outstanding. Rogers has been great. You mentioned off the top that you're disappointed in yourself I'm curious what you think you could have done differently to right this ship, considering how good the offseason was.
Yeah, I think that our overall preparation, deployment, and overall just what is happening in our environment. And our environment's good. I don't worry about our environment, even though we were talking earlier about it not being as good as it was a year ago. I point that to losing, and that is why those things haven't been as joyful. So I think about the preparation. I think about our adjustments and something that I missed, and I haven't found it yet. But that's where I spend my time and energy, is what did I miss in terms of preparation, in terms of deployment, as the league is constantly adjusting. And that's where I spend not all of my time and energy, because I have other things to be worried about, but a very big chunk of my time and energy these days.
Well, with that in mind, how do you thread the needle with all this uncertainty about the future of baseball? In terms of the pending CBA negotiation, the uncertainty of the economics of the game in the future, like where does that come into your anxiety and trying to, figure things out?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, we have such good support from Rogers that they have told us to operate as business as usual and happening. I also have an incredible belief in the love of the game becoming what drives us to a situation that we're playing baseball. So we're operating as if we're going to be playing it just as we are today.
So with that in mind, again, I get it. You got a lot of games left, and you're not out of it until you're officially out of it. But how do you think your roster shapes up for 2027? Presuming health, everyone's available the way you want it to be. Do you feel like you're in a good place to right the ship next year?
Yeah, I do. We just made a big step towards that. One of the things we're concerned about is the free agent market, and being able to acquire players like Spencer Arrighetti and Jose Soriano is going to be very difficult to do this offseason. And we did subtract Arjun Namala, but and Jeff Hoffman. So that those subtractions are, and that's not taking anything away from Kevin Gossman and Dalton Varsho, but they were definitely going to be free agents. So competing for them and not having we feel like we replace the value loss in Arjun Namala and then some with the returns we got in prospects, and we've added now major league players that can help us this year and beyond.
Well, Ross, to end on a high note, has Dylan Cease been maybe better than you could have expected when you signed him in the offseason?
Yeah, he's been great. It's so, I get asked those things like, the questions, well, what are you surprised about or better than expected? And it's so, with professional sports, I'm kind of never surprised and try to always manage that expectation. So just because it's just so difficult and so incredible at the same time. So how impressive Dylan Cease has been his entire career, to say that he exceeded expectation. We knew he was capable of this, and we're coming away very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, the pursuit of a Cy Young, he's in the driver's seat right now, clearly. He's just been phenomenal. I mean, how much, at a minimum, obviously you want wins and you want to get back in the playoff race, but the idea of having that kind of as a part of the journey down the stretch, what is that worth in terms of the clubhouse dynamics and the organization in general?
Yeah, I mean, not taking anything away from it, it means the world to Dylan Cease, and we will support him. And focus on team accomplishments. And that's what we spend our time and energy on.
Ross, if you need, I can share my Crave password with you, and we can get you all caught up on The Sopranos and everything HBO
and
has
curling.
to offer.
There's a lot of curling on
There's
there,
some
too.
curling.
Well,
It's only on Crave.
There you go.
Frank, I heard that you were at a golf tournament where there was 3 hole-in-ones recently.
Yeah, it was crazy. Glenn Howard got one of them.
Isn't he a curling legend?
Yeah, absolute legend.
A legend.
Absolute legend.
The $40,000 prize on that hole was already claimed, and he got a hole in one. He
didn't get
doesn't
anything. Didn't get anything.
Happiest guy in the room. Happiest guy in the room.
Bizarre
Were
mentality.
you guys playing at a par 3 course?
Yeah.
No, it was up at TPC Toronto. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was legit. Yeah. It happened. It was legit. Well, thanks for doing this, Ross, and thanks for not trading Dylan Cease to the Dodgers too. I think a lot of people were happy you didn't do that. And good luck with the rest of the season. We'll do it again down the road. We always appreciate you finding time for us.
Thanks, Brian.
You got it. There's Ross Atkins, the GM of the Blue Jays, and feels optimistic about the future, right, and how they're set up into 27. And I think he's striking the appropriate chords. They're disappointed. They're trying to figure this out. You got to support. Like Vladdy. Obviously, there's got to be an element of just being completely perplexed by the season in general and what's going on with him. But you've invested in him. You invested in him because you knew he had talent. He does have the guy plays every single day. I know that that's not worth anything right now, but there are guys in the league that would have shut it down by now. And said, I'm done with this. I can't keep playing. I got to come up with something. He keeps playing. When
$500 million was $300 million or $250 million, there were guys getting paid that much money that were injured and didn't play every day. So there is value to that. But when you're in that stratosphere, you gotta have more than 6 home runs in a season, right? And I will say this, it has to be an anomaly this season for Vladdy because it the law of averages would tell you, but it just has to be. It can't be 2 years in a row like this. No. It literally can't, based on how much you're paying the guy and how much you need him in order to be successful.
This is not a prospect that's just getting into the league and you say, man, we had him hyped up and he can't figure this out. Maybe he never will. He's been in the league a long time. He's 27 years old. He's
in the prime of his career.
He will figure it out. Yes. What the limit is for Vladdy is a legitimate debate. I don't know. This is the floor, though. This has got to be the worst season he ever has, right? Short of 39 years old, broken down, barely playing. This is as bad as it ever is going to be. He owes them a big bounce back next year, though. And they're and I think that's legitimate conversation. Ross is being diplomatic, as you would expect publicly.
Yeah.
On the way out of town, there's a sit down before he leaves. Go collect your thoughts. Go figure your stuff out. That can never happen again.
Well, they're dead in the water if he does.
Absolutely.
Right?
And Vladdy knows that. I mean, Vladdy's not stupid. He knows how important he is to the team.
But I feel like this time around, remember when Vladdy first got started, he had a really good season and then a down year, and then you're the down year, maybe there's some questions or concerns about the preparation and getting ready for a season. I don't view this that way. I view this differently. I think Vladdy is more mature, but I also think it's just something's gone wrong. Maybe it's the timing of the swing, like Ross is saying, but it doesn't feel. I feel like he is really trying to work through it.
But
I
he has
don't think
no
there's
confidence.
I don't think this is an immaturity thing or anything like that. This is just a guy. It's down bad right now. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you watch him. He has absolutely no confidence.
The swings he has, you're like,
there's nothing
never
behind
saw
him.
that before.
And he's got no command of the strike zone, which is wild for Vladdy. When he's on his game, man, he was a guy. He'd take walks. He's waiting on his pitch. He knows what's coming. It's a chess game up there. Right now, he is guessing wrong every single time. Every time he's guessing wrong. And then when he's trying to catch up, it's just completely out of sorts. Very difficult to watch. And the reality is, it's a team sport. Maybe more than any other sport, you need everybody. But it's reasonable to expect wins above replacement. He should have 3 or 4 more wins. And 3 or 4, 4 more wins out of the loss column going into the win column, and they're right there in the race.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is. If he is kind of based on talent, age, and money, he should be a 4 or 5 wins above replacement guy right now, and he's a 1.
That's his end of it, right? He's got to own that. There's also other guys that could be a little better and
100%.
Pick up the slack in certain ways. That's what a team is all about, right? But
and look at the Yankees. Judge has been out for a long time, and he's still out, and he's likely going to be out the rest of the regular season or close to it.
Bellinger's been out, and they keep
winning,
chugging along. Yeah.
Exactly. So if one guy sinks your ship, then your ship was probably not built the way you thought it was.
But what do you think that one thing he's thinking, like it could, like he said, I can't find the one thing I wish I could have done. What do you think it is?
For Ross?
Yeah, like I've been thinking of like if he could have done something different. Like I wonder what that. I don't know if there's
like
one
I don't think
thing.
it's as simple as we'd keep Bo Bichette. I know people
I
like
don't
lean
think
on
it's
that.
that
I don't think that's what it is.
Because a lot of it has been bad luck, and then
and
like,
bad performance from guys you need more out of.
100%.
That might be what it is that he looked at a couple guys who had great years last year and looked at them optimistically as opposed to
So maybe you add more
like
insurance.
Springer being
but
the
that
example.
was good. He knew that.
No, I know that, but George is completely fallen. Like I'm sure they accounted for.
There was a little slippage.
Yeah, like he's going to have like an 800 OPS, which is a big drop off from what he had last year. But that's still a really good player. Like we think he's going to give us 24, 25 home runs.
Yeah,
OPS of about 800. Nowhere close to it, and hasn't been all year. Where maybe that's like we should have accounted for more of that coming back to
hard to account for that though.
But so maybe it's
that's
like
a great question.
I don't know. Maybe it's like we don't get Kyle Tucker. We need to go get some other bat. I don't know who that is.
And maybe, and again, Tucker hasn't been great in L.A., but maybe it was, hey, we actually had the ability to pay him what the Dodgers were willing to pay him, and we chose not to spend that money.
Yeah, but it's all circumstantial. Like, who knows if
I know exactly.
Like he could be a totally different.
Of course, I mean, of course. Like who knows? Ultimately, that's the beauty of sports is you're going back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
You also don't have to spend money just to spend money. Like, okay, you strike out on someone, doesn't mean you have to allocate all those dollars to someone else. If that guy might not be worth it, then you look at it and say, we're going to hang tight. Like, and then we'll figure it out after.
Absolutely. And the reality is in sports, there's so much that's unpredictable. For the teams that do great, the GM gets a ton of credit. A lot of times they didn't know that was coming either. They didn't do it. It was just the players everything worked for them that year.
Yeah.
4 or 5 guys had magical seasons. They didn't think we're going to have magical seasons. And all of a sudden they look like a genius. But if you went back in time in the spring, they're like, this guy's going to be brutal this year. This guy stinks. But then he's like, oh yeah, we always had a ton of confidence.
Yeah.
Like, it goes both ways.
I'm just thinking like the one additional thing, like you don't get Tucker, is now if you're Vlad Guerrero, it's like you look around the lineup and you're like, if I don't hit, we're kind of and like the Bo's gone, Springer's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
and
on.
Barger's been hurt all year. They were banking on him protecting.
So the pressure just ratchets up.
Kirk's injury affected him greatly. Those are things you can't predict or plan on. No, either. Anyway, something to chew on coming up. Frankie's got himself a list. Our best bets still to come as well. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
AEW Dynamite, Wednesdays on TSN.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, we'll get to our best bets later in the hour. Frankie Corrado's got himself a list we're going to get to here momentarily. A couple more, confirm or denies that we can possibly sprinkle in. We got a lot going on here.
We left a few on the table because we got into the whole Leafs chat for a while.
That's right. And, we're just talking to Ross Atkins. And unfortunately, even though it's still only the beginning of August and we got a lot of baseball games left to be played, a lot of people are starting to look to next season already, including Ross, who did say, hey, we were sellers. Like, he admitted that. We were selling, but they've got to jump on the offseason and bringing in, a couple of arms that they believe are going to be a big part of their future. Something to chew on, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink. And you get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. Are you confident the Blue Jays can be a playoff team in 2027? Where do you stand on that?
Absolutely confident.
You're confident?
I am.
Okay, then you would be in the minority, 46% voting yes right now, 54% voting no. It's a tight race online.
You know what? I would say no if they weren't proactive and they pushed all their work to the offseason and they were still holding up hope for this year, but they're realistic. Like, they understand where they're at, and I think they, sounds like they've all taken accountability for how things have gone wrong. So the fact that they've even recognized that leads me to believe they know what they're doing, and they're going to find a way to turn it around. And there's just no way Vladdy can have this year 2 years in a row. It can't happen.
I think you're right.
It can't happen.
Jonas, feeling confident right now?
I don't think you can be. Like, until we see what the team is going to look like, how can you be confident? There's still a lot of holes.
Confident in their ability to put a good team together.
I don't know. Like, before, I hate to bring it up, but remember the beginning of last season was not exactly a rosy time.
No.
So,
yeah, listen, they would argue they were a playoff team, 3 of the previous 4 years, and they didn't make the play. They lost in the wild card all the time.
This is now 2 or 3 years.
I know. And I agree.
The only miss really has been what? Santander? That's been the only miss that I can think of off the top of my head.
And that's purely injury related. It's not performance related.
He hasn't really been able to perform.
But you're talking two different things. You're talking about like the team and the wins and losses and what you see in front of you right now. And Frankie, you're speaking to the front office and their checkbook and their ability to be proactive and get out in front of this thing and what else they could do in the offseason. That's, the unpredictability of baseball. It could obviously break both ways. I would vote yes, that I lean more towards what you said, that like Vladdy will be better next year. Like I get it's, how much better, I don't know. This is horrendous how bad he is.
Dude, he's got 6 home runs. It's August.
It's horrendous how bad he is. He's legit like a 9-hitter that almost shouldn't be in the lineup. That's how bad it's been. So he's going to be better. They're going to get healthy again next year, I believe. That's a big part of it too. But I think, presuming there's not going to be a huge work stoppage or a strict salary cap, I think the checkbook afforded to the front office from ownership is significant here, and I don't get the impression that's going anywhere.
Yeah, but there are other teams, right?
I know that.
And it's,
I
don't know, like just look in the division. Like the Yankees are good, the Rays are good, the Red Sox have been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore is like, I don't know what they're doing. They're kind of reloading. But you know what I mean? Like it's not easy.
That's not exclusive to this year or next year. That is a constant.
Every year.
That's every year, no matter what.
How can you be confident? There's just, I don't know.
So you're not confident?
If you gave me like a percentage, I'd be more comfortable with like putting a confidence.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't I give you a list, and then you tell me how confident you are that any of these things could happen.
Deal.
We'll combine like Jonas's confidence meter with my list.
Let's go.
This is Doogie tasked me with this.
I'm going to steal this idea. I'm going to do this.
Okay, good. This is Doogie tasking me today with my wish list or things I'd like to see happen this offseason.
Okay. The rest of the way in the NHL.
Rest of the way.
About 5 more weeks we're talking about here.
Yeah. I got 5 things I'd like to see happen. Number 5, I'd like to see the Habs make a big trade. Like, they have all this momentum coming off of last season. We know what they need. They need like a true, top 6 centerman to supplement that team, play with a guy like Demidov. And the reality is their front office has done this every year. They've made a big trade. Dobson, Doc, who was really good in the playoffs, Newhook, who was good in the playoffs. Like, it's kind of paying off now that they're in the playoffs. So I got that at number 5. Habs need to make a big trade. Or
who would that, Dylan Larkin?
That's the one who,
guy.
Yeah, right. But who else?
I don't know. Maybe it's something off the board. Did you think they were going to trade for Kirby Dach when they did? That was kind of a surprise.
That was a strange one for both teams because he was a 3rd overall pick, I think, and Chicago moved off him even though they were
20s.
terrible.
Yeah.
It was a weird play. Like, Larkin would be perfect, I think, for them.
Yep.
100%.
Like, the perfect slotted number 2 centerman, two-way guy. He's a left shot Suzuki, basically. Like, Suzuki, I think, is a better player. But, like, Larkin would just be perfect.
And he flies up and down the ice,
Exactly. He can skate. He plays in every scenario. This is what is frustrating. Like, if you're Dylan Larkin... Now, I don't know if Detroit would make the trade within the division. I don't know if Montreal would be willing... If they really want him or they'd be willing to give up the pieces.
Wants to go there.
But that's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
If your beef is, I can't take the losing, I got to get out of here, and Montreal wants you, and you're like, nah, I'm not going there. Then you're not serious. I can't take you seriously.
Then you want to go, it's like a vanity thing.
Exactly, and it's about lifestyle more than it's actually about winning. Because if you're obsessed with winning,
now they haven't won yet.
No, I know
but
that.
they're going
they are
to be
set
competitive.
Up. You can't name me 5 teams in the league that are set up better for success in the next 4 or 5 years. I'm not guaranteeing they win anything. Yep. I said the same thing about the Leafs 7 years ago.
Yep.
Or whatever. And I've said it, about a lot of different teams. But their cap is in place. They got a lot of talent. They got young talent. They got 2 goalies. The hockey market.
If he would
what else? If you're Dylan Larkin,
if he would be willing to go there, then the conversation becomes: can Montreal stomach giving up Michael Hage?
Yes,
and that's where the conversation goes. If he's willing to go there,
or Fowler or something like that. I wonder.
That's the thing. Is Detroit's pretty set for goaltenders? Like they
young
have,
goalies.
Yeah, Trey Augustine. Like they got good young goalies.
All right, you got number 5. Habs. You want to see him make a big move.
Number 4. I want to see someone blink first. Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes. Who blinks first when it comes to this contract? Because it feels like if Hughes goes first, he's going to set a high bar because he can. They traded for him. They really want him. And then Cale Makar, all of a sudden, could look at whatever number he was going to give to Colorado and say, this is my number to help keep a little bit on the table for you guys. Maybe that just ups a little more for him. Like, it's advantageous for Makar, I think, to let Hughes go first. I would like to see one of those guys go first and get that extension.
Likely setting the new bar, right? They both have a year left on their deal.
Right.
And I don't even know if it's a Celebrini bar. Likely. I mean,
it's in that vicinity, dude.
Is it higher?
It should be.
Like, I think Hughes has the opportunity to go to 20. And if Makar was going to do 16, now all of a sudden Makar could do 18 and say, look, I took $2 million less than Hughes.
Yeah.
Like, I did you guys a solid. Meanwhile, he was probably going to do $2 million less before.
Right. Well, and the reason I say it should be is because they're unrestricted. Like Celebrini's wasn't going anywhere. They were going to match. There was not going to be an offer sheet.
Well, and how many years?
Well,
the other thing, like
that's what'll be
5-year thing. Does
Hughes
shorter?
Hughes could go 3 years to line up with Jack.
There you go.
That's probably what he ends up doing.
Go 3-year deal, $20 million a year, $60 million deal, and then line up with Jack, and then shop it around.
Package deal. Yeah, that could be an interesting one.
Then you get the old, like the new version of Parise and Suter. Just where do they go to New Jersey? I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I like that. Number 3.
Number 3. Here's our Leafs spin: the Riley resolution, which we already talked about at length today, but. Like, what happens? Are they going to bring back Morgan Riley? Are they going to bank on, Radish being there and Tanev being there, alleviating some of the workload, Jim Hiller being the head coach, and maybe finding a way to get more out of Morgan Riley's game? Or are they still trying to work out a trade? Like, we know that they gave him he gave them a list of teams that he'd be willing to go to in the Western Conference. I don't know. It feels like you need a pressure point for something like this, and training camp would be the next pressure point. Like, there's no pressure to do anything in August.
Can I ask you guys something about this that we didn't talk about before? At what point is there, and they may have crossed this point long ago, at what point is there too much change? and like he's the longest serving player in the team. Like, at what point do you need to kind of maintain something, or does that not even matter?
No, I think it matters. Listen, last year was a terrible season, a dreadful year. But prior to that, they went to the playoffs 9 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not as if this was some rotting carcass that had been horrendous for years. It was just an awful. Everything went wrong, and they were terrible. I think it's a reasonable question.
Everything.
Well, and you're talking a lot of it behind the scenes too.
Behind the scenes, but like half the roster's new. Too.
Yeah, they got a new starting goalie,
new coaching staff,
all new coaching staff.
Like the amount of like things you're like, oh yeah, I forgot they did it. Like Daniel Alfredson.
Dude, it's an interesting thing because sometimes there's moves that happen, and then guys will go to the guys that have been there a long time and say, this is how we do things here, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, but should we still be doing them that way? Like, do you just do it because you've always been doing it that way? Like, there's a balance there.
But I guess in the scheme of like getting back to the playoffs and being a good team, like at what point have you changed too much? And it's just like you're gonna have all these new people like trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's it. Like sometimes it takes a year for someone to acclimate. Like it doesn't always pop. Now they didn't outside of Radish, which was a big signing and a big commitment. He's got to hit immediately. The other guys were predominantly like bottom six depth players.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob and Radish have got to hit.
Bob's a big one.
Like those two have got to hit. There can't be a Stamkos scenario where it's like first year I just I couldn't play, I couldn't figure it out. Next year I'll get it together.
Dude,
you can't have that with Bob.
Quietest 42-goal season I can remember.
Phenomenal last year. It was because it was so bad the year before.
Right.
Where it was like, man, this guy has forgotten how to play or he's sulking because he's not in Tampa. Last year he was great.
42.
And they just won a great team, but it was a phenomenal year for him. But you bring up a great point, Frankie. How much of this change is so that the guys, the incumbents, you got to change? You know what I mean? Like, because you said it, like a lot of times the longest standing players, the new guys just acclimate to them.
Right.
How much of this is the organization saying, Austin, Willie, John, Morgan, you're not setting the you gotta feel the change and you got to change the way you operate.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They got to send a message to those guys. I mean, they didn't pull their weight for the most part last year.
Right?
They didn't play that great.
No, you're right.
It's good to have a different energy. It is good to have a different energy, but to Jonas's point, you don't want it to go overboard.
Okay,
all right, I got that.
Number 2 on Frankie's NHL offseason checklist.
All right, number 2, the Cutter Gauthier contract. Ooh. What is that thing going to look like? Leo Carlsson signs for $18 million. Connor Bedard signs for $15 million. And I don't know, man, this Cutter Gauthier, he's the kind of guy that'll sit there and say, I'm a better player than Leo Carlsson, and I scored 40-plus goals, and I deserve $18 million. And there's just no way they can have two players that making that kind of money on that team. So what is that like? What does training camp look like? Could be the kind of guy that says, I'm going to sit out, and I want, like, Pat Verbeek has been notorious.
He needs a contract, right?
He needs a deal. He has no deal right now for next year. And Verbeek has been notorious for being a tough negotiator.
Yes.
Like that, I don't think this is an easy resolution as we sit here in August.
No, it's not. I mean, you wonder if there's a team looking at an offer sheet for him.
He can't get offer sheeted.
He's not. Okay, so
he's not eligible.
So then that's trouble. Like that. Then that's because Verbeek just got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like the Carlson deal was not a good look for him. That it happened, and then he had to match it, and then it all came out that Carlson was willing to sign for this, and Verbeek said no. Like it's not a good look for him the way the whole thing played out.
Even worse was the Minchikov thing, because they could have got Minchikov done for $3 to $5 million, and they had to pay him $7 afterwards. Yeah,
right. So he's on thin ice. Which means, does he feel even more emboldened to win this negotiation? Or is he like, man, I got to just get this over with and pay this guy? But to your point, you can't give the guy $18 million.
No, and
Leo Carlsson shouldn't be making $18 million based on merit.
Exactly, and this is the old school RFA squeeze. Doesn't have arbitration rights, can't get offer sheeted. So all you can do is sit out.
That could be the old
this could be
playing
a
in Sweden routine.
This could be a Nylander.
We could be getting updates from Stockholm or something.
All right, so that's number 2. And number 1, I find this like, I want to know who's going to be the new Red Wings GM. They are operating without a general manager right now. And for a long time, it's been, Stevie Y, and there's been Horkoff's around and Chris Draper's around, and there's very esteemed alumni there. Is it going to be someone like that, or is it someone external?
Been a couple of weeks,
right? Like,
what are
been
they?
A while, man.
When are they going to hire somebody?
Do you remember? You would remember this when they let go, I guess it would have been Dave Nonis, and they didn't hire a GM until I think it was like the middle of August when they hired Lou Lamoriello.
But Shanahan was there, and he was effectively running
and they had
the operation.
Hunter and Dubit anyway.
But no,
I guess my
saying.
point is like I guess it's not urgent now, and it's not. When does it become urgent? September.
I mean,
Dylan Larkin probably wants a call at some point. Can you hire
that's
somebody to figure this out?
That's why I didn't put Larkin on this list, because I feel like it goes hand in hand.
Right.
You get a new general manager, you get a new voice, and then you have to see where the Larkin situation is at.
Like, you got a team in the offseason who hasn't been in the playoffs in a decade, and they just don't have a GM right now. Like,
and they let him go through
everything,
and then let him go.
And then kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Now you're an assistant to the assistant
advisor
or whatever. Yeah, kind of delicately, we're moving you aside.
Right, but it's like it's a strong alumni group within the organization. Like,
but it's a good question. Like, do they need to get off the glory days? You know, like because if you hire Draper, that's not saying that Chris Draper isn't capable of doing the job. Maybe he'd be a phenomenal hire. I don't know
for sure.
But I'm sure the market will be like, really? We're going back? Okay. Who's his assistant
We can only hire former players.
Yeah, like his Datsu coming over next to be the assistant GM, and then we're bringing in...
But sometimes when there's been GM searches, like when Chicago did it was like, hey, we just interviewed Kyle Davidson and Eric Tulsky, and it was very transparent. You don't really hear anything about this.
No, I know. It's pretty quiet. Okay. I like that. Let's get those things going here.
There's the 5-pack. Let's get it going.
I like that 5-pack.
My confidence in that, sky high.
Sky high, as it should be.
Wow.
Very confident guy. Always a confident
He always has been, especially about the Leafs.
I've always thought of him as very confident.
Joe from the Bridge wants Shanny to go to Detroit.
Oh, good. That's a report. Joe from the Bridge. Breaking. Would like to see Shanahan take over the operation down there. All right, Best Bets coming up. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live. right, so we've had a good one today. Thanks to Ross Atkins for coming on and breaking down, the trade deadline, the decisions that went into that, the guys they traded, the guys they chose not to, guys they acquired. What's up with Vladdy? Urge you to go check that out. And maybe most importantly, we have Joe from the Bridge chiming in saying he wants to see Brendan Shanahan take over the operation in Detroit. That's important.
Dude, he goes, they're going to go from the Iser plan to the Shanna plan.
Can you have a second Shanna plan, or is that not owned by the Leafs?
Too.
Like, wouldn't the Leafs put their hand up? And you know how they are about money. They'd probably say, you're not allowed to use that. That's our thing. I wouldn't be surprised if the Leafs kind of own that, so to speak. So, anyway, best bets. Powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Jays are on a bit of a heater right now, and Trey Savage is on the mound. What are you thinking, Jonas? I'm leaning into the Jays up plus money. I feel like getting past the trade deadline is actually going to be beneficial for a team like that. I think it's been hovering over them. I feel like the pressure's probably off because the deals have been done, and they know wins and losses, it's not what it once was, especially considering the expectations coming into the season. And you're getting pretty good plus money with you Savage on the mound tonight. I'm on the Jays on the money line. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays available for every MLB game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 18+, physically located in Ontario. My guy, Ricky Fowler, he hit my top 20 bet last week. He was actually T10. Finished 8th.
He likes that tournament.
He loves that track. Yeah. Great birdie on 18, the 72nd hole. That was big because he was kind of threading a needle there.
Great-looking track there. Nicely
It looks
renovated.
amazing, actually. What they've done with the bunkers and stuff, like Thorbornson. Am I saying that properly? Thor. He's a player, that kid. Like, he can play golf.
Yeah.
And he got himself a win, and he's going to be someone to, be reckoned with, I think, into the future. But almost into the FedEx Cup, and more on that later in the week. The PGA Tour Player of the Year, a lot of debate on that. We'll touch on that. All right, Jonas, Frankie, good seeing you guys. Thanks for doing this, as always. Great seeing you. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live, and streaming soon up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.